Matt McDougal of Boundaries joins me, Ned, on the Underground. Matt, thanks so much for taking time out, man. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
Anytime, man. Now, metalcore really seems to be thriving here in Australia at the moment. I wanted to kick things off by asking you, Matt, how is it in the States at the moment?
I would say that it's doing well, but it's a different kind of metalcore. The States is also very receptive to like European and Australian, like it's almost like 2010s like beatdown style stuff.
Yeah.
If you start those bands in the States, nobody, can I swear?
Yeah, go for it, man.
Oh, nobody gives a fuck if you start those bands in the States. But like when you're like Alpha Wolf and you're Throne and shit, you come over here and people can't believe it. So I would argue that for US fans, you kind of have to sound like more like Amity Affliction, Currents type stuff. I think that's more popular here. But it's still healthy. It's just healthy in a different way.
Oh, that's very interesting, man. And I wanted to talk to you like about how you got inspired to get into music in the first place before we get into the album and the tour. What sort of inspired you to get into music, Matt?
I don't really know how I ended up here. I didn't play instruments. I didn't have like a specific goal in mind where I was like, I want to play music. I wasn't in band growing up. I just liked music. I liked going to shows. I did that a lot.
Yeah.
That's like the first community I kind of found because, school wasn't working out. I think most people that end up in music are kind of looking for a place they belong. So that was just the first spot I ended up where like I kind of made friends. And I played drums in punk bands, but like that's, a fucking chimpanzee can do that. Like it's not hard. It's not, you don't need musical talent to do that. And at some point I just, I always wrote a lot. So I ended up trying to be the singer of a band and just kind of ended up here.
That's
it was
cool.
never really a goal. Just kind of happened.
I like that, though. It just sort of all fell into place. And you said school wasn't working out. What do you think you'd be doing if you didn't take this route and go down the path of being in a band?
Oh, boy. I'm not sure I could even really start to consider what the alternative would be. I had no talent for anything. Nothing really held my attention. I'm not sure. I think I probably would have just defaulted to some type of like a worker bee. Yeah. I just, wake up 9 to 5 kind of guy. I don't think it would have ever been anything too creative or special.
Yeah, well, lucky it went down this path, definitely. And you guys heading to Australia for the very first time, I was going to ask, Matt, what's sort of the wildest thing where your music has taken you, especially on the path that you're talking about there, where you just sort of fell into it? It must spin you out to see where you are today. What's the craziest thing that your music sort of led you to, I guess, travel-wise?
The first time I went to Europe, it felt like okay, I'm in a band now. Because when you're starting off, you're just kind of like your friends. Like you can pile in a van and go pretty much anywhere in the States.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of driving there. So the first time I had to like load gear and then get onto a plane, I was like, oh, this is kind of for real. This is like we're going for it. We're doing the thing. Australia was always a bucket list thing though. So with that, our first time going there being in, month and a half, it's pretty surreal. I probably won't feel it until we land where I'm like, oh shit, I'm here. But that's something that like the two big ones were always Australia, Japan. Haven't been to Japan, and the second I touch ground in Australia, I'm like, God damn it. Wonderful.
Oh, I love hearing that man. And yes, very different to touring in the States. You'll be flying from city to city, no chance of, buses or anything like that. So you'll get that feeling again for sure. I was going to ask, Matt, what's sort of the best thing about being in a band career-wise?
it'd be way easier if you asked me what the worst thing was.
That's my next one.
The best thing, I think, probably ranges from person to person.
Yeah,
I have the advantage of being in a band with like just all of my friends.
that's cool.
So like my favorite thing is like all of the time we spend together, because obviously typical, I've had regular jobs forever. I like only very recently did I like stop getting jobs in between tours. Um, you spend as much time as you can with friends and family, but like when you between like music, working, taking care of yourself, and then also balancing a social life, like you get very little time to spend with the people you want to spend it with, and so you kind of have to take it where you can get it. Maybe you go see a movie with a friend, but like you see them, once a month maybe.
Yeah.
Definitely my favorite thing of touring is how much time I get to spend with the people that I want to be spending it with, and I get to make like all those memories with those people.
Yeah, that's amazing. So then on the flip side, what's the worst thing? You said that's an easy one.
Um, there's like 20 worse things. Probably the worst thing for me personally, like I said, this has to be different from person to person. But probably the worst thing for me is like how it messes with your perception of time. Because years just disappear. Like, I'm home right now for the longest chunk of time I've been home this whole year. So like it's like we left for a tour in March and I blinked and it's mid-August. Like time just goes. Because tours every day blends into one another. And then you get home and like everyone around you, their lives kept going, even though yours was like on pause. That's always been something that's like I've struggled with, is like kind of how you can't really keep your feet in both worlds. You either have to just be like the guy that disappears and shows back up sometimes, or you have to stay home. And I have chosen to not stay home, so I come back and I'm like, oh, you guys got married, oh, you broke up, oh, that guy, you passed away. Like there's life doesn't pause just because you're not there for it. That's probably my thing.
Yeah, that's a absolutely wild take on it there, Matt. Never even looked at it like that, man. Changing things up to Death is a little more. The album dropped a little bit earlier in the year. It's an absolute freaking punch in the face of an album. How's the reaction been to it so far?
It's been great. It came out when we were in Europe last time we were in Europe. So obviously expectations are zero because it had just come out, and also we're across the world. Like any reaction would have been a good one. But then we got home, and a week later we left for our first headliner, where we were playing a big chunk of that record. It's still early in the life of that record, so I'm not really sure where it's gonna go, like what people will attach to, what songs will be important to them, what ones, we'll play twice and then no one gives a shit, so we stop. So I think it still has a lot of life left in it to kind of see the course it takes. But, we like playing it a lot, and people have been great about reactions, and people have been very vocal about, which songs they are fans of, which ones mean a lot to them, lyrically. People have just been a lot more outspoken about this record, I think, is how I would describe it.
Yeah, that's very cool. And you landed some pretty big collabs on there too, with Kublai Khan and Alpha Wolf as well. How did that come about?
Really just asking.
Yeah.
We didn't have an especially close relationship with either of those bands. I had met some of them once for Alpha Wolf. They were on tour in the States with, I think, like Fit for a King. I think they were on tour with. I met them in a green room. I met like half of them in a green room, not even all of them. But their bass player has always been very supportive of us, very outspoken fan of our band. So when it came time to like, okay, well, not we need, but we've never done features on a record before, and it's our third LP. If we're gonna do it, let's do it now. Let's do something different.
Yeah.
They were just a band that came to mind. They're in the same world, but it's not exactly the same. If you get nitpicky, like the way we play music and the way they play music is not the same. They're a little more, like I said, like kind of beat down style, more like new metal-ish, and we're a little more like classic sounding. So it felt like a collaboration that made sense and would be easy on people's ears as far as like, oh yeah, like I enjoy hearing him on this song. And also it was just, there was, like I said, like barely a relationship, so it was just something to kind of further that. I assume I'll tour with that band at some point, so that'll just be one more thing to like break the ice. Same with Kublai. I didn't really know any of them. I had seen Matt at shows, but really that was it. We had played a couple shows together here and there, but like pre-COVID, like a lifetime ago.
Okay.
So we were not like close, but we record with the same producer, Randy LeBuff. So when it came time for guest spots, we were thinking Matt. So we just had him reach out. It was really as simple as just texting him, being like, hey, here's a song, are you interested? And he was great about it. I found, or rather my friend Chris from Body Stature found a producer near Matt that he could just go to and record, send us his thing. We inconvenienced him a bunch, but he was super great about it.
Oh man, yeah, that's amazing right there. And Kublai Khan, of course, touring here, I think next month. So yeah, it's wild. We've got both of you guys coming in the next couple of months, and Alpha Wolf, of course, from here, Melbourne, my home city. It's just cool that they all sort of come together like that, Matt. And where, like with the album, who is behind the music videos, man? Does that come from you, or do you have like producers, or what's the go there?
So the last run of videos we did all of them with our friend Eric Easterday. He's done photo video for as long as I've known him. I met him on my first tour ever. He was out with a different band. We just happened to be playing the same show that day. Yeah. But I've known him for we're probably coming close to 10-ish years, maybe 7, 8, something like that. A long time. And now he does photo video for Deftones, Gojira. He's a big deal in that world.
There you go.
Anytime he's home, I'm just like, hey, can I pay you no money and you'll do my music videos? Because I'm not Gojira and I don't have $1 billion. Like, is that cool? And he's always been great about it. And also he is like a creative force. Obviously with, as bands get bigger, they have an established style or image, whereas we are always like, we want to do weird stuff. We want to, for the music videos we did, the ones we're talking about, we built entire sets. We did costumes, all of it was very guerrilla, very like not a ton of money to go around. What little we had just went to him to pay him for his time and his work, and the rest was like hands and knees building and making, which is a style that he excels at. He wants to do weirdo stuff, but when you're working with bands that have 20-30 years of established style, you kind of just have to make the stuff that they want. And so then he'll come to us later and be like, hey, we want to do something like this where it looks like a vaudeville show, and he's like, oh, absolutely, yeah, let's do that.
So you sort of come up with the ideas and just shoot it to him, and like you said, just sort of weirdo kind of stuff, and he's all down for it.
We bounce stuff back and forth a lot. He'll send me like a proof, almost like a script of like, here are the ideas I have. Here are the story points we'll hit throughout the video. What do you think? And it's just really like, if anything, I do like a little bit of edit, revise, just like maybe not that, maybe this instead, stuff like that. But he is the prime force behind that stuff.
Oh, amazing. All right, man. Well, before I run out of time, I wanted to discuss Australia with you. You are, of course, coming here for the very first time while she sleeps. It's going to be a massive, massive tour. What are your sort of thoughts and expectations about here?
I'm really just probably, I think what we're all looking forward to the most is to just see what Australia shows are like.
Yeah.
Um, the US, they range a little bit depending on kind of what chunk you're in. The Northeast is known for, dancing more. The more like middle chunk of the country, um, they're big on singing along and just kind of packing it in. Like you can kind of differentiate where they are depending on where you are in that country. Europe, same thing. The UK is a ton of participation. Mainland, people just kind of stand there and stare at you and be like, wow, this is the best show I've ever seen in my life. But, they were dead eyes the whole time. So I'm curious to see what Australia's like. We've been hearing for a little bit that people are like, you guys should come here. So we're just, I guess, whether or not it'll meet expectations. I'm expecting it to be dope.
Oh man, it's going to be crazy. Like you're on tour here while she sleeps, stick to your guns. Ocean Sleeper, they're a great band too. And of course, you guys. I am running out of time, man. But before I let you go, I want to grab a recommendation for you, Matt. Something that you recommend to people checking this one out. It can be a movie or something that you've checked out recently, or a band or anything.
Ooh, okay. Let me hold on. I'm looking at my Spotify right now.
Love it.
I listen to a lot of music. Like a lot.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, you know what? I don't know anyone in this band, so this is completely thankless. I'm sure it'll never get back to them. But there's this band from here called Awaken Providence. I think they're from New York and New Jersey. They've had 40 vocalists. They've been a band for a long time. I think, in the politest way possible, I think a lot of people have counted them out just because they've had so many member changes. They've been around for so long, and they're kind of waiting for that break still. They just put out a record that I'm like low-key obsessed with. I'm going to give you the name of it too, so you don't just have to Google the band.
Hey, nice.
They put out a record called I Write to You, My Darling Decay. It kicks crazy ass. If you are into like symphonic, it very much so has like a Norwegian tinge to it. If you like Lorna Shore with all of the, orchestral stuff, 6-minute songs that never go below 250 BPM, definitely check that out if that's your jam.
Oh, there you go. Very much love it. And be sure to check these guys out as well. It is Boundaries heading our way with While She Sleeps, Stick to Your Guns, and Ocean Sleeper this September and October. You can grab the details through destroyalllines.com. Matt, very much appreciate you taking time out to talk to me, man.
Of course. Thanks for having me.